Right, hi guys. A few people have asked us for lessons on kind of very basic theory. There's a lot of good stuff out there on YouTube and on the internet, but some people found it difficult to interpret what others are saying, so here's my shot at it, and hopefully I'll help you understand it, or at least part understand it. Or if you haven't got a clue what I'm talking about, hopefully at least you'll enjoy it. There'll be lots of letters and stuff flying all over. It'll be really fancy. Okay, so I'll talk about something very basic that every musician, regardless of instrument or genre or whatever like that, that everyone should kind of know, especially if you're interested in songwriting. I'll call the lesson sort of Harmonising Chords. But particular harmony we're going to look at is what's called Tertian, or Tertian. I'm not sure. I think it's Tertian Harmony, spelled like this. I think it's Tertian Harmony, and basically it means harmonising in an interval that we call thirds. By the way, yeah, this lesson kind of assumes you already know a little bit about intervals. I will go into it a little bit, and I might do a separate lesson on it if there's enough people ask about intervals. But yeah, Tertian Harmony is I'm going to call it Tertian, whether it's Tertian or Tertian, but it's going to be known as Tertian for this lesson. Yeah, so Tertian Harmony is based on interval of thirds. So let's take our, we'll just do the C major scale. Everybody does it in C major. There's a reason why, because it's slightly easier to understand without sharps or flats, and you're used to kind of learning things in a C major key. So hopefully here it is, the C major key on the screen. Right, great. As you can see, obviously the notes, as you probably know by now, are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then octave C. It all starts again. Yeah, it's a nice easy one to remember, the C major scale. And how do we make chords? Well, here are first the order of the chords of the scale. So our one chord that begins on C is a C major chord. D is a D minor chord. E is an E minor chord. F is an F major chord. G is a G major chord. A is an A minor chord, and B is a B diminished chord. For this lesson, I think we'll not really worry about that B diminished chord, because kind of in the beginner theory stuff, diminished, it's quite a difficult thing to understand. Well, not understand, but it's quite a difficult thing to use. It's a really unstable dissonant chord. There are two sort of main types of what we call chords. We have consonant chords and dissonant chords, or consonant harmonies and dissonant harmonies. Consonants sound very stable and safe, and you're used to hearing them all the time, and you know, not going to cause any problems. And dissonant chords or dissonant harmonies are exactly that. The dissonant, they're usually diminished augmented chords, or based on secondal harmony. Basically it sounds unstable or a little difficult to listen to if you don't really know what's going on. Okay, so how do we form these chords? Well, it's really simple. Basically, without knowing any theory, you can just, if you write out your C major scale, as is on the screen, all you need to do this, to form your one chord, your C major chord, you just take the first note, C, you miss a note, which is D, so you miss that note out and go straight to E. So far we have C, E. Then we miss out another note, F, so we miss that out and go to G. So we have the notes C, E, G. This is a C major chord. Why is this a C major chord? We'll go into that. We'll go into that later if time allows, or I'll do a separate lesson on it, because that's to do with intervals and intervallic structure and stuff of chords. Okay, and the same with D. The D minor chord this time. You start on the D, miss out the E, go straight to the F, miss out the G, and go to the A. So you have D, F, and A. It's really, really that simple. You don't even need to understand the theory or anything like that. If you want to write a chord progression and don't know kind of how to start, just write out the C major scale, or any major scale for that matter, or any minor scale. Any major or minor scale, write that out, and that's all you need to do. Excuse me. That's all you need to do. You just take the first note, miss the second, take the third, miss the fourth, and take the fifth. And that's why sometimes you'll see the chords labelled as a 1, 3, 5. because it's the first, the third, and the fifth note of the scale. So then we go to E, and if you can't guess by now, we start with E, miss out the F, G, miss out the A, B, E, G, B. That's E minor chord. And same with F, F, A, C, F major, and G, G, B, and D, G major, and A, C, E, A minor, and your B diminished is B, D, and F. But like I say, don't worry about that for now. Go and read up on it by all means if you're interested in it. But if you're just starting out with this theory, you're going to play the B diminished chord, and you're not going to probably not going to like the sound of it anyway. You know what I mean? So just kind of ignore it if you want for now. Yeah, so that's really simple. Those are those chords are just called triads because tri meaning three and ads meaning I have no idea, but they're made up of 3 notes, so they're called triads. Let's just pretend ads means notes. So triads, 3 notes. Yep, 3-note chord or 3-note harmony. And we can then go a step further and add on an extra note on top. This is when we get into something called 7th chords, which you may or may not be familiar with. But we follow the exact same principle. Take a note, miss a note, take a note, miss a note, and you can go on like that forever and ever, well, until you run out of notes. Adding notes and it'll be a different chord. But let's stick with 7ths for now. So our 7th chords are built up of the numbers 1, 3, 5, our triad, and 7. So really simple again. So C, miss out the D, E, miss out the F, G, miss out the A, B. So we have C, E, G, and B. It's really that simple, and that's a C major 7 chord. So let's do D minor 7, because remember it's a minor chord. So we have D, miss out E, F, miss out G, A, excuse me, A, miss out B, C, D, F, A, and C. Sorry, I had to think about that in my mind. D, F, A, and C. That's a D minor 7 chord, and so on and so forth. But then you get to the G, and the G is a bit tricky. The G is what the 5th chord of a major scale, when you're doing in 7ths, becomes what's known as a dominant chord. What is a dominant chord, you say? It's, well, if you think of it, it's basically like your G is a major chord, but then when you add the F on, which is a 7th, that's a minor 7th. So a dominant chord, a dominant 7th chord, you can think of it as a major chord with a minor 7th. So that's a G dominant 7th chord, yeah? And then when you get to the B diminished, you get to what's called a B half diminished, but skip that. So yeah, so now you should know how to form your triad chords and your 7th chords. It's really that simple. Hopefully this has helped you understand that really really basic thing of it. You don't even need to know the theory. I'll do an extra lesson if you want on intervals to help you understand why certain chords are major and why certain chords are minor. It's all to do with the third, the 1 and the 5th. If they're just 1 and perfect 5, they don't make any difference to the chord. It's the 3rd that makes a difference, because you can have a minor 3rd and a major 3rd. So if you'd like to see a lesson on that on intervals, then just give us a shout. Alright, well, I hope this has helped. Cheers for watching.